Jamal and Kim's Inner Circle Health Tribe, episode 17.
When we step out into the world without a directed, founded intention, then we step into the chaos and we become part of the chaos.
It's time to reverse the imbalances in your life as you take the first step on your own journey towards personal change. Welcome to Jamal and Kim's Inner Circle Health Tribe, educating, empowering, and inspiring individuals to live healthier. Now here are your hosts and your guides to natural living, Jamal and Kim.
Hi, Kim and Jamal here, and welcome to another episode of Jamal and Kim's Inner Circle Health Tribe podcast. Today, we have another great interview for you. Today, we are joined by Wayne Chandler. Wayne, are you there?
I'm here.
Well, before we begin, I want to say thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to sharing some great and powerful information with our community.
Yeah, definitely. Greetings, Wayne.
Greetings.
Good. Yeah, definitely. Thank you for joining us. It's definitely an honor to have you on the show.
Definitely. So for those of you out there who may not be familiar with Wayne, I just want to share a little bit about him. Wayne Bean Chandler is an author, inspirational speaker, practitioner, and healer. Author of Ancient Future, The Teachings and Prophetic Wisdom of the Seven Hermetic Laws of Ancient Egypt, and The Brighter Side of Darkness, A Light Warrior's Guide to Inner Alchemy and Spiritual Transformation. Chandler is an anthrophotojournalist specializing in ancient African and Asian civilization, philosophy, and culture. As a motivational speaker and workshop facilitator, he has lectured throughout Europe, East Africa, the Caribbean, Canada, and the United States. In 1981, Chandler began his study of Iyengar Yoga under the instruction of John Shoemaker, where he achieved strong standing in the advanced levels of that system. Chandler is also certified in the powerful healing techniques of beams, bioelectric energy management systems, pranic healing, and medical qigong under the tutelage of Master Stephen Coe and Sybil Baker, and spiritual sexual alchemy, core energetics, and brainwave therapy as instructed by Montauk Chia and Miss Minka DeVos. He is also certified in Tuya Na of the Pillars of Traditional Chinese Medical Science and Daoyin Yoga as taught by Montauk Chia. As an expert in the field of bioenergetic therapy, Chandler has trained other healers from various modalities in how to heal degenerative conditions without using their own bioenergetic life force. He has conducted these workshops in Jamaica, Florida, Costa Rica, Maui, and Fiji. Mr. Chandler is a martial artist with over 25 years of experience. He is trained in the system of long fist and has also extensively trained in the African-based martial art of capoeira, in which he has been an instructor in both Washington, D.C. and Cleveland, Ohio, for a total of 13 years. Chandler has also studied under the noted martial arts expert Kalindi in martial strategy, application, and energetic displacement. He is currently studying the internal martial arts systems of Pa Kwa. That certainly is a mouthful.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, this is going to be a great show because one of the things that we try to educate our listeners as well as our clients. We have a holistic center here in New Jersey. And just letting them know that, you know, when you have a physical imbalance within your body, there was so much that took place before you got to that point, you know, unseen things on the energetic, emotional, and spiritual level. Mm-hmm. And, you know, just energetically and understanding energy, that's so new because it's not really discussed in mainstream health and wellness. So that is a lot to swallow for a lot of people. So this show is definitely going to push you a bit. And I think that it'll be great. And this is going to be really good to talk to someone with, your level of mastery. And I will say this, Wayne, we actually met it was a very long time ago. It had to be about 10 years ago. And I was taking a Hermetic yoga instructional training course with Yasir out in Brooklyn, and he brought you on to speak for one of his classes, and I'll never forget it. You were showing us some slides, and this one picture that you showed us, there was some type of energetic shift or rift or something like that. I don't know if you remember this, Wayne, but there was some type of energetic shift or rift, and this woman dropped her spoon, and somehow it just kind of, the shift caused it to kind of land like inside of the pot, like it merged with the pot itself. Like, so it was in between the pot. It was like something out of the Matrix, where the metals just kind of combined when she dropped it. And that was, really my first time in real time, because you hear about these type of things, actually seeing something, to that degree. Do you remember that at all, Wayne, when you came to Brooklyn for that and showed us those slides?
I don't remember. I remember that. I remember that slide.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, yeah. I just showed that slide when I was up in Toronto last weekend. And I hadn't shown that slide in quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah,
that was powerful. That was powerful and incredible to see. And I would actually like you to, if you will, just kind of explain that maybe later in the show. But yeah, and then just your books, having a chance to read The Ancient Future, mm-hmm. for all of those who didn't read it. There's a lot of books out there, and, a lot of times we read books, we get insight, they're enjoyable. And then there's certain books that when you read them, there's an instant shift that happens within you. You're automatically a different person, and you see the world differently, and you move differently. And that's definitely the type of impact that book had on me. So I really look forward to this conversation today.
Respect, as do I.
So for a lot of people that don't know who Wayne is, can you share with us like your personal journey to this level of mastery, and what led you to have the knowledge to become an author, as well as all of the many people that you've helped and trained throughout the world with the things that you do? Who is Wayne Chandler?
Yeah, I think that a lot of our personal journeys, definitely begin before this particular round, or incarnation. I believe it's pretty much a continuation of things that we've started and begun, in other lifetimes.
Yes.
And my particular portion of that journey, as I picked it up, I've always been engaged in wanting to connect with that which was biospheric, that which was the real fabric, texture of our reality. So when I was very, very young, I was very locked into nature. I spent most of my childhood, like in woods, swamps, fields, chasing after insects, animals, catching turtles, frogs, that was my reality. And I was totally and completely absorbed, into that. It wasn't until like my early teens, that I really began, to look at, like just different avenues to pursue with respect to integrating and aligning myself with other human beings. So I got a pretty good sense of the natural world and just how that design impacts us, on many different levels, before I really stepped into the distractions of humanity. So upon making that move, I've always known there was something larger, greater, more absolute than myself out there. And I've always had like a sixth sense, about that. So upon, growing up, I got teased, by my close friends because, I just, everybody was going to church. I wasn't, I mean, I would be sent out to go to church, but I would never arrive.
Wow.
I would go and sit at the corner deli or somewhere until church was over. Then I'd, make my way back home. And the reason was because I just wasn't feeling anything that, this individual in the pulpit was saying. I just wasn't feeling it. It wasn't ringing true. And it was really somewhat agitating to me to try to sit and listen, to what was being said. So because of that, my friends, referred to me as an atheist, but it wasn't that I was an atheist. I just knew that there was something much more substantial, out there in the world. And that's what I wanted to lock into. That's what I wanted to pursue. That's what I wanted to integrate, my own personal being with. And so that really started a search, an inner and outer, journey for me, which of course began with the outer, like really trying to pursue different types, levels, and directions regarding information, which would give me a different level of clarity and understanding, to what all of this was really about. And then, probably in the 70s, the early 70s, I think I began practicing yoga, like around 1970. And so around 1970, that understanding began to transform into an understanding when I began to actually practice what it was that I had been learning, that I had been reading, that I had the information, the knowledge that I had been acquiring, on an intellectual level. So that began to like create authentic shifts, in the nature of my being, the nature of my consciousness, as I began to like study and practice yoga, pranayama. And, back then, we followed, the authentic eightfold path, so it wasn't, yoga was not just a system of exercise. I mean, it was a true endeavor into, a journey that was transformative, that was transcendental, that was alchemical in the nature of its overall design and construct. So probably about in the early 70s, I actually began teaching yoga through the interdisciplinary science department at one of the universities there in D.C.
Wow.
And had a great class. Back then yoga was not a big business, so I mean you could like really be well trained and could just step in and having the notoriety of being well trained and being serious about your science, about your craft, you were embraced, by the overall community. And so, getting through those doors and into those positions, was a lot easier than it is today. Today, it's very, socio-political and economic.
Yeah.
So, you have to go through the Yoga Alliance to even, step out there and begin to teach, yoga. But then, back then, the veil was a lot thinner. We had access to the masters, easy access. I used to sit, and chatted up with Swami Satchidananda, like on a few occasions when he would come into town in D.C., and just sit, break bread and, have some serious discussion.
Yeah.
But you can't really do that these days, it's just a different game. But, so yeah, I began to pursue that. I used to go down into the Caribbean, and isolate myself, up in the hills, take my tent and, pursue my journey, for what I felt at that time, was, a transcendental method and means and mode of how one needs to operate, in this particular three-dimensional reality to really gain control and mastery over it. So, I really put a lot of time, into doing that. And it served me well. But a lot of the things that I was trying to achieve, when I would isolate myself like that, I discovered that the changes, were not as expedient as I really thought or felt they should be. And I began to feel that, something was missing. And I didn't know what that something was. So eventually, I began my journey at that time. I was very much into herbology. I was DC's prime herbalist, as well as nutritional counselor dealing with diet and such. And I blended the two, an understanding, or understanding of herbology and that of dietetics, and nutrition. Did a lot with respect to conferences and teaching classes and courses, on that in the D.C. area. Did that for several years, and eventually, in terms of my own practice, I just began to look for a little bit more. Being into the martial arts, being into yoga, I just really felt that there was something that was a little bit more profound in terms of its alchemical essence that was awaiting me that I wasn't tapping into. And that led me into eventually into Qigong. And Qigong provided me a lot of the missing pieces that yoga was not putting and bringing to the table. I began to find that Qigong really moved me very expeditiously into areas that had taken, a very, very long time in terms of energetic cultivation, through the yoga disciplines. And through Qigong, I arrived, almost immediately with consistent and dedicated work.
Wow.
And so the same level of dedication that I had put into yoga, when I took that level of dedication and put it into my Qigong practice, it took me like a third of the time, to achieve and acquire, these energetic attributes, that were very elusive to me through the yoga practices. So at that point, I pretty much, moved away, from yoga and just focused on developing, my Qigong experience and journey.
Okay. And for those who never heard of Qigong before, and this is a new concept, can you explain what Qigong is?
Yeah, Qigong is basically it's a multi-dimensional system of energy that deals with the breath. It takes, in essence, an inferior, or standard or normal human being and shifts them into a superior human being, dealing with superior or superb, physical health, a deeper, more profound clarity of mind, a more disciplined will, and the development, cultivation, and the eventual release of suppressed inner talents and transcendental abilities. So basically, what Qigong does, it locks you into the true nature of who and what you are as a fourth dimensional entity, as opposed to the three-dimensional entity that you express yourself as every single day, which is not part of who or what your original design is. So Qigong literally connects you with your original template, your original blueprint, and allows you to utilize that in shifting alchemically and energetically your realities around you.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds powerful. I mean, you've just, in this short amount of time, even with your personal journey, I mean, you've spoke on a lot of things about, just these shifts, and you're coming into certain realizations. And I know a lot of people are looking for certain shifts in their life. And, we live in this kind of, we want things done quickly type of thing. And I know nothing happens overnight, but definitely sounds like Qigong is something that's, really powerful for people to get into. One of the things that you've mentioned a couple times is, alchemy, alchemical essence, and things of that nature. Can you just, for those people who are really hearing this word alchemy for the first time, can you get into that a little bit and just explain what alchemy is?
Turning lead into gold.
Indeed.
No, I mean, it's the very essence of having a practice that is very substantial and literally rewires and repatterns the essence of who and what you are as a human being, and takes that into a whole nother frequency and vibrational level.
Yeah. And just being a master in so many different areas, when you look at the current state of health in the United States, like, what do you see? Like, what's your take on that right now?
Oh, it's horrendous.
Yeah.
It's truly horrendous. And it's fascinating in the sense that the level of degradation, the level, of just degeneration, of body, mind, and spirit is so rampant.
Yeah.
Today in today's world, that I in terms of a holistic approach to health and longevity, it really doesn't look good. Just doesn't. It's not. We're not well suited for that. But what is taking place in the cultural design is allowing individuals more so than ever, to live a life of degradation, to live a life, just immorality, and to have, a backdrop that is technological in its design, which will compensate, for the inevitable lack that you acquire on a daily basis with respect to health, with respect to longevity, with respect to vitality. So like right now they have, a very strong technological push you know, for replacing various organs in the body when they wear out, you know, based on, you know, disastrous or improper modes of living.
Right.
And this is the new push. You know, this is the new design, you know, which is to be able to blend. There's a movement on the planet which is called the singularity movement. And the singularity movement is a movement that deals with the blending, the integration of organic physical material with inorganic mechanical material. And, you know, this is a movement that is gaining notoriety all over the globe. It's one of the strongest global movements right now, you know, on the planet.
Wow.
You know, that's moving through various countries, you know, today. And as a matter of fact, I believe it was Time magazine a year and a half ago did a you know, a story, you know, on the singularity movement. And, you know, the individuals that adhere to the singularity movement say that by 2045, humanity, you know, will reach its level, its state of undeniable immortality. And this undeniable immortality that humanity will ascertain is all about the integration of organic and inorganic material.
Wow. That's
scary.
Yes, it's scary. It is. And especially when you just look at, I mean, you touched on quite a few things. Just when you look at just how people are being mentally conditioned, you know, we get a lot of clients that come in. We were talking about this in one of our previous shows. They come in and they have a laundry list of health challenges. But when they write their intake form out, they say that they're in good health. And the reason why they say that they're in good health is because the laundry list of medications and treatments that they're doing is keeping those things in order. It's managing them. So because their levels are fine based on the things that they're taking, they say that they're in a good state of health. And now it looks like we're even shifting even further. And now it's just like, you know, so there's a level of neglect when it comes to medications and things of that nature. And now it seems like we're moving toward a shift of not even having to have a certain level of respect for your body, because it's just like, oh, I can get another, you know, gallbladder, or I can get another, you know, kidney, or whatever the case may be. And I was just having a conversation with someone. I forget the name of the machine, but it actually prints organs. Like it somehow, you know, it takes the DNA and you can print a ear, or you can print an organ. And reminds me of that one movie where they would actually lease out organs. You would literally lease them out, and you had to make payments on your body parts. And when you talk about this singularity shift, it just makes me, you know, think on that level, because we all know that it's you know, corporate money that drives this thing. So it has to be, you know, money involved in it, and that is very scary, very scary.
Yeah, well, you know, we're being set up, you know, profoundly to completely disconnect from a natural state of being. And, you know, this is something that has been developing, you know, over, you know, a long period of time. So the rush, the push, you know, to get us there in an accelerated fashion is now more prevalent than ever, you know, because, you know, there are billions of dollars on the table, you know, to make this happen. And anything like this that finds its way, you know, into the cultural design, you know, is going to be a global reality, you know, more sooner than not.
Right.
You know, so a lot of the push with respect to consciousness is the removal and the disconnection of that which makes us human, an organic, living human entity, into one that embraces a more technological reality and state of being. So it begins with, how we embrace and how we lock into and how we revere the various technical apparatus that we have at our disposal.
Right.
The deeper we go into those things, the more connected we become to those things. And we're not taking our daily walks out in the woods. We're not disconnecting, from the concrete jungles, that we are so deeply a part of.
Right.
When we're not embracing any aspect or dynamic of the natural process and order of things, then that accelerates, our move, towards completely and totally, disconnecting, from all that is biospheric, into a more technological reality and stepping further and further away from our own humanity. And the more we step away from our own humanity, the easier it's going to be for us to be controlled and directed into areas that as a human being we ordinarily would never find ourselves or would ever want to go.
And that's really one of the reasons why we do these shows, is to really kind of inspire and educate people to reconnect with their true selves, with nature, with spirit, and just to have a better awareness of how their body works and what's needed to maintain true good health, not mainstream health. So that's one of the reasons why we provide this this platform, and kind of one of the things that you've been talking about, bioenergy and things of that nature. This is new for a lot of our listeners. And I definitely, wanted to get into the whole conversation of energy. Can you explain that a bit, just that unseen energy and how does it work, and, how does it affect your body and your health overall?
Well, everything is energy, everything, so our misunderstanding, or ambiguity, around energy is because we've never really been taught or shown exactly the importance and how essential the understanding of energy really is in our lives. Energy is emotional. It's vibratory, which means that the way we deal with energy on a daily basis, that we can relate to, identify with, would be through emotional exchanges. Anger is energy.
Right.
Sadness is energy. Laughter is energy. All of these things are energetic, and they all impact, the human body in various ways, in various levels. Our organs and our glands, are basically the guardians, of our emotions. Like a healthy body, a balanced glandular system, that leads to emotional stability.
Right.
Emotional stability and clarity give the capacity for us as human beings, to cope with any situation or stressor. Regardless of what that is. It can be financial. It can be dealing with relationships. It can be dealing with just other, encounters out in the world on a daily basis that challenge you. But to have emotional stability, is a profound thing. And that's really where a lot of our energetic template the design of those templates begin, because when you're emotionally imbalanced, that indicates that the organs in your body are also imbalanced, because every organ in your body corresponds to an emotional field.
Right.
So liver corresponds to anger. Kidneys correspond to fear. Lungs correspond to depression, to despair. Pancreas, stomach, spleen, correspond to worry, to anxiety. And these are the frequencies. These are the energetic frequencies that we encounter on a daily basis, way more so than any positive, uplifting frequency that would be enlivening us.
Mm-hmm.
So because we are constantly in touch with these low base emotional frequencies, the energy that is created within the context of our inner being is an energy that literally disintegrates, dismembers, literally misaligns, our energetic frequencies in terms of how our bodies need to operate and function as a fine-tuned instrument.
Right.
So when we talk about energy in a practical sense, it really begins our understanding and eventually understanding of the energetic design of how we are exposed and what we are exposed to in this manner begins with our emotional frequencies. It's emotional energy that we basically deal with and wrestle with, are challenged by every single day of our lives. So when I talk about energy, everything is energy.
Mm-hmm.
But to begin to really embrace that concept, to really have a true understanding of what that means, is really dealing with how you understand and eventually will understand your emotional fields.
Mm-hmm.
Because your emotional fields dictate every second, minute, and hour of your life. A lot of individuals talk about like the pineal gland, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, well, the pineal gland is damaged by salt, and that's what stops us from achieving higher states of awareness or consciousness. The pineal gland is damaged by fluoride, and the pineal gland is damaged by, improper dietary adherences. And, all of that is true, but only to a very nominal extent.
Right.
When you measure that against how the pineal gland is damaged by emotional fields.
Yes.
Because around the pineal gland sits the limbic center. And the limbic center's responsibility is to absorb and decode all emotional frequencies that we encounter. Now, if you are encountering more negative, low-base emotional frequencies than not, all of those vibrational frequencies, that energy is moved directly through vibrational frequency into the pineal gland. And it's the negative vibrational frequencies that we live with and by that keep the pineal gland via the limbic center shut down and inoperative, day in and day out.
Right. This is I'm glad that you went into it to this degree, because this seems like a very difficult concept for people to understand, because what we've been taught, is, a lot of times our food or genetics. That's the main one. Genetics. We have no control over our health, and then food and exercise has a level of control over it. But it seems like it's so hard for people to wrap their minds around the fact that they're emotional stressors, and that emotional energy is really kind of the seed of all of the imbalances and the dis-ease that happens in the body. That's just such a hard thing for people to swallow and to comply with making those shifts, because like you said, we stay in that vibration so much, especially in the stressors of this society that people deal with on a daily basis. It's very hard for them to understand the importance of putting in that particular work to bring balance into their bodies. So just like what do you think? What do you think as far as the nutritional component of things? Like, is it possible for a person to bring complete balance back to their body if they just focus on nutrition and exercise, and they don't deal with the emotional components of things, that emotional energy behind it? Is it possible to bring true balance to the body if they don't address those things?
No,
yes,
not at all. The thing about diet, the thing about nutrition, is that it has its place in terms of how it operates and functions through the physical, construct. But because everything is so well integrated, when you look at the nature of what is termed vibrational medicine, vibrational medicine deals with the fact that everything begins in the more subtle dynamics and aspects of our being. And by the time the imbalances reach the physical, they've been sitting with us for a very long period of time.
Yes.
Right.
So in order to shift, to rearrange and redirect this energy, you have to go into the more refined, subtle frequencies, of the body, of which there are several bodies aligned and operating within the one physical. That's where health and healing really begin.
Right. Yeah.
So, because everything is energy, you have to really stop and look at the significance of how much energy you expend through a meal. So someone will come to me and they will say, well, I eat this particular way or that particular way. And I will ask them, why do you eat? And they will say, well, I eat to get energy, because energy is life. I will say to that individual, what is paramount is for you now to look at your diet and look at how much energy is expended in the process of mastication, from mastication to digestion, from digestion to absorption and assimilation, and from absorption and assimilation of those nutrients into the body, the elimination of the remains, the residue of that whole process, and measure that against how much energy it took to take you through all of that.
Right.
And how much energy was really in your food.
Right.
How much do you really think you got out of that meal, realistically? When you can just do a specific design practice that is all about extracting energy from its pure state and moving that directly into your being.
Right.
To be processed undisturbed, without having to go through the various levels, of compartmentalization in order for it to be absorbed, and the small fragment that may be remaining to be utilized in your being as a whole.
Yeah.
What is left after your body goes through that entire process is nothing.
Right.
From the food that you just ate.
And they may be in the negative.
Right.
Exactly. It is. More times than not, it's in the negative, and that's why, we, regardless of how well we eat, we still age and go through, the abnormal process of degeneration.
Right. So the person that is thinking now, because I know some people are thinking it, okay, well, I understand that, but what can I eat that would allow me to unlock or utilize the energy that's in the food and not expend it? Like, what would you say to that?
It's not really about just the diet.
Mm-hmm.
What that individual has to recognize is that this is a holistic journey.
Right.
And so the diet is only a complement
mm-hmm.
to a much larger, more substantial means of existing. And that more substantial means of existing is what locks you into source consciousness, what moves you into the universal frequencies that are operating within and around you.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing that connects you to source, that allows you to flow with divine consciousness and transcendental order?
Right.
These are the things, that are substantial. And the diet is basically a mere complement to that holistic blueprint.
Right.
That you want to be living by and following daily in your life.
And that just kind of stresses the importance of holistic living and looking at everything from that whole picture, and taking all of those practices together. Because we live in this kind of fragmented, isolated society where people just kind of pick one thing. I'll just exercise right now, and I'll eat well or do the other things later. And nothing works by itself the way that it's supposed to. Yeah. So for a lot of people out there, this is eye-opening. And, they're just kind of like, well, where do I begin? So what would you say would be kind of the first place that a person would begin as far as getting in tune with that energetic life force that flows through them and beginning that process to cultivate it? Like, what would you suggest?
I would look for a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I would look for someone, who is very committed and integrated into that means and way of living. I would do research. I would look towards books that are holistically designed. I do a retreat. Twice a year in Jamaica.
Yes.
It's a week long. For a week, everything is provided. It's inexpensive, and, what you get during the course of that week, and by week's end, I guarantee will change your life forever.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's a guarantee, or I give you your money back.
Mm. Yeah, I was looking at the flyer. It looks like it's going to be amazing. That's going to be in February.
Yeah, it's going to be in February.
Okay. And what can a person expect, like on a typical day, going to a retreat like this?
You can expect to become something other than what you have been expressing yourself to be during the course of your years on this planet.
Right.
You know, the whole focus of the retreat is to connect and lock you into your fourth dimensional self.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get locked into your fourth dimensional self, then you learn how to create the things that you need to have for yourself in this reality.
Mm-hmm.
Because manifesting the reality of your design is your birthright.
Right.
We have just forgotten that. You know, one of the things that you know, I look at, you know, Einstein made a statement once and said that no problem can be solved at the level of consciousness in which it occurs.
Right. Yeah.
And what that speaks to is the need for your consistent, elevated growth in consciousness.
Yeah.
Because if you are continuously growing, developing yourself, evolving yourself, then regardless of the challenges that befall you, that are you're being confronted by in this three-dimensional realm, because you are greater and you vibrate at a much higher frequency than this three-dimensional realm, the more of you that you come in contact with, the easier it is for you to shift, change, and redesign the challenges that you are confronted with on a daily basis in this three-dimensional construct.
And, you know, I'm glad that you're bringing this up, because we speak to so many people that come to our center that they're just existing. I mean, they're just in a state of being, just survival mode. They're just going through their life just to, you know, going through the motions to stay balanced and just to get through to that next day. And there's so many different levels of blockage, so many different levels of blockage in their life. It could be, you know, financial, it could be health, or whatever the case is. And it's like they're kind of misfocusing their energy on where it should be to create that true breakthrough in their life. And to step away from that and to go to your retreat or something like your retreat is what people need to really go inward and focus on themselves, because a lot of people, they're not focusing on internal things. They have all of their attention on the external things, and you would logically think that that's the way to go, but people are hitting roadblocks when they're doing this.
And that's the key. You know, I mean, people hit roadblocks. We are so disconnected from nature. Being connected to nature is being connected to your sanity. Not being connected to nature and following a degenerate, imbalanced cultural design is being connected to insanity.
Right.
Doing the same thing day in and day out and not getting any type of accomplished satisfaction from that same thing that you do day in and day out. To do that and to expect, even though you're doing the same thing day in and day out, that you are expecting a different result from that same thing that you're doing day in and day out is insane.
Yeah, absolutely is. Absolutely
That is
is.
the nature of insanity,
Mm-hmm.
is to do the same thing day in and day out and expect a different result.
Right.
And that's what we do. That's how we live. And that is crazy.
Yeah. Now, I know you're into energy medicine. With people having so many different health challenges, from depression to other, clinically diagnosed diseases, going on that journey internally, reflecting their energy internally and focusing on themselves, what types of transformations have you seen in people that change the direction of their focus, that are imbalanced with and challenged with their health?
Oh man, I mean, I see amazing things, because I work with people in all capacities, of life, and a lot of the energy work that I do is remote healing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't have to leave my room, to work on different individuals.
Right.
But I work on people from suicides. I mean, in the last 3 months, I've had 3 suicide cases. No, two suicide cases. I've had individuals with MS. Individuals that are just completely and totally so far removed from their life-based program that they feel that they have gone insane, and they have taken the initiative to check themselves into a facility, a mental, health facility, in order to rebalance and reclaim some level, of their mental stability and integrity.
Wow.
Because they're working in high-powered positions, because they have the responsibility of having to direct and guide, multitudes, and they can't guide themselves. So I see this every day, and I see how when that particular malady is corrected, adjusted, and balanced, the sky is the limit for what it is that they can do.
Right. Absolutely. And I think it's important that you said that, because I know it's just so many people that are lost and they don't know what to do. They just keep hitting these brick walls, not knowing where they need to direct their energy for the true healing. So
yeah, you've got to step outside the box.
Right. Have to step outside of the box.
Yeah.
And that's very scary for a lot of people, because of the way that things are set up. They think that, stepping outside of the box is going to make matters even worse.
No question.
Yeah, we get that quite often. People are so afraid to make that change and to change their energy, focus, that they end up actually not taking action. One of the things that you've spoken about quite often today is becoming a fourth dimensional being. Can you just kind of touch on that? Like, what is it when you move from a third dimensional being to a fourth dimensional being?
Well, being a fourth dimensional entity is locking into your energetic and your spiritual technologies, which we really don't have an awareness of. So the first step in accomplishing that, of course, is moving through the breath, because the breath determines where energy goes. As you balance and integrate proper breathing patterns into your daily design, then that will give you proper perspective and mental clarity, which will allow you to properly and very, I guess you could say, functionally, deal with your life-based challenges, that are coming at you, like a blizzard.
Mm-hmm.
You now have more functional aptitude because you have a clear attitude to step in and identify your issues, your shortcomings, your challenges, and then to have solutions, to those shortcomings and those challenges.
Right.
So it all begins with the alignment of the breath.
Mm.
That's where it starts.
Yeah. We've spoken
just
about that. Just
learning how to breathe.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
As you inhale, you carry energy into your body. As your breath aligns itself with the internal mechanisms and systems that operate within your body, you bring your body into like harmonious accord.
Mm-hmm.
The more harmonious accord you have, the more in sync now you are with universal rhythm. See, the thing that people don't really get, we live in a very compartmentalized reality because that's the nature of our culture.
Mm-hmm.
Our culture is a compartmentalized culture. When I say compartmentalized, I mean that it separates all of the different aspects and dynamics one from the other so that you really think that there's segmentation.
Right.
You don't really know that the human body works as one unit.
Right.
You don't understand that because you've got ophthalmologist.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a pulmonary specialist to work with the lung. You've got a hepatic or a liver specialist to work, as an internalist, with the liver and other organs in your body. You have a podiatrist to go and see and work with your foot.
Right.
The body is compartmentalized, and everybody has an invested piece
right.
of you.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the overall design of our reality. What we don't understand and why our life is so difficult is because that is not the way of universal flow and order.
Mm.
Universal flow and order is about integration. The universe is the most integrated entity that we could ever possibly know or come to understand.
Right.
Now, when you act, work, and live as a compartmentalized entity, a compartmentalized being, human, because the universe is fluid, because the universe is so integrated, the universe can't even recognize you.
Mm.
So when you stop and you say, well, life is hard, because I ask the universe for this, I ask the universe for that, but the universe doesn't hear me. No, you're right. Until you step into a place of holistic integration of self, you are not in universal flow. And until you are in universal flow, the universe does not acknowledge who and what you are.
Mm.
Yeah. Holistic
So the
integrators of self
that are forthcoming to you from the universe are nowhere to be found.
And it's impossible to to bring yourself into balance because you're not vibrating on that frequency whatsoever.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if there was one thing, just one thing, that if a person could only do one thing, I would say, to have the biggest shift within their life as far as health from a holistic perspective, what would you say that one thing would be?
Really look at, once again, embracing and learning some really solid breathing techniques.
Yeah.
And get a good meditation.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Find a good, solid meditation that you can do on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
Those two things are paramount.
Right.
The breath and just redesigning your consciousness in ways that you can't even imagine,
mm-hmm.
through having a good, solid meditation that you can do for just 20 minutes out of the day.
Right. Yeah. So important. I mean, we covered a lot of things here today. I mean, you've put so many, thoughts in my mind of questions that I want to ask, but, I don't want to take up too much of your time, as well as, we're coming to a close as far as the show is concerned. But I definitely, in the future, would love to have you back on and just kind of talk about men's health a bit, because we're having such a challenge getting the men and the brothers into that awareness of what needs to be done. With our business, I would say 80% of our business is women. It might even be higher. So it's just that awareness isn't there. But meanwhile, we look at the men and we see, how serious it is with the health challenges that they're having. So we would love to bring you back on and talk about men's health, and you get your perspective on that, as well as maybe diving into the breath a little bit more. And we appreciate your time here today. It was a powerful show, and everyone out there, I definitely recommend going back and listening to this quite a few times to really absorb everything that this master teacher is, giving you today. And Brother Wayne, as far as people getting in contact with you, and purchasing your books and your retreats and other things that you have, your remote healing, being able to take advantage of that, where can they go to reach you and to get these things?
They can go to my website. My website is www.waynebchandler.com.
Okay. And we'll put that in our show notes as well. And Brother Wayne, do you have any final thoughts or comments or anything like that you would like to share with our listeners?
Yeah. I would say I would leave the audience with, come to an understanding, an understanding really, of your internal power, your personal power, and really, really get to a place, where you can begin to maximize, your own internal abilities, so that you understand the powerful being that you really, really are, and what you are designed to do, how you are designed to be. So don't let the days dictate your realities. Because of the nature and the power of who and what you are, it's your birthright to dictate your own reality and create that reality as you see fit. So before you step out into the world, a world that is compartmentalized, convoluted, immoral and degenerate. Before you step out into that frequency, create your own frequency. And you let the world, by design, know what it is that you want from it on that particular day that you step out into it.
Right.
So harmonize yourself and lay your intention. Intention is everything.
Right. Mm-hmm.
When we step out into the world without a directed, founded intention, then we step into the chaos and we become part of the chaos. When you step out into the world with intention about what it is you want to have happen for yourself, your person on that particular day, then you've created a direction and you've created a conduit that energy will move through to bring you the things that you need to have for yourself on those particular days that you intend.
Yeah, that's powerful, everyone. I hope you play this back, listen to that again, and begin incorporating that. That's one of the things that we try to encourage our clients to do, is set their intention before they leave out into the chaos, as you will, to set their intention. So I think that is just powerful words right there. We appreciate that, brother. We appreciate you for coming on our show and sharing this information and your gifts. We thank you a lot for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
And before we go, just to remind everyone, all the information that we spoke about in today's episode, all of Wayne's contact information about his retreat and books will all be listed on our show notes page. So just go to jkhealthtribe.com/Wayne and you can get all of that information. And again, thank you, Wayne. This was a powerful, powerful episode. And I hope it inspires people to move one step closer into reaching their full potential and beyond.
Oh, well, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Peace and blessings, brother.
Peace and blessings.
So that is the conclusion of our episode with Wayne Chandler. Hopefully you enjoyed the episode, and most importantly, you received value from it. So before we go, just shoot over to jkhealthtribe.com and sign up for our weekly email newsletter. And you'll also be kept abreast of anything that Jamal and I will be doing in the future. Okay, so until next time, live healthier.
We hope you enjoyed your time with Jamal and Kim's Inner Circle Health Tribe. To keep you on your path towards a happy, healthier lifestyle, we encourage you to visit jkhealthtribe.com for a free copy of the 8 effective ways to lose weight and keep it off, as well as more content to help you find your health balance. Thanks again, and we look forward to educating, empowering, and inspiring you to live healthier.